Thanks, you guys. Thanks for coming out. If I seem like weird and off today, it's because I got catcalled, which is like a strange thing at the best of times. But the guy saw me, and he was like compelled to yell. So he's like saw me walking along, and he yelled out. And what he yelled at me was, Alanis Morissette! Which is way weirder than nice tits. Sort of equally hurtful, though. Didn't feel good. Before we get into anything, here's a little fact about me. Get to know me a little bit better. I love salt and vinegar chips. The best ones, thank you. And sometimes that love crosses the line into obsession. And I was eating a family-sized bag of chips every day for about 3 days in a row. And you know how they say there's like certain foods that you can eat that'll like change the flavors and properties of your various fluids? Like they say that about pineapple all the time. Like, man, if you eat pineapple, your cum's gonna taste great. Chicks are gonna gobble it up. So I was smelling my underwear, right? And it smelled like salt and vinegar chips. So if you love salt and vinegar chips, I have amazing news. Talk to me after the show. Some of you are taking that very seriously. I was reading the free paper, like the Now magazine, and I got to the back of the Now where all the sexy ads are for like the massages and escorts and things like that. And they had an ad for a phone sex line, and it was like a typical looking phone sex line ad. It was just like a hot girl on the phone like this. And, but like an old rotary phone, like phone sex line technology has not progressed to the point where they have cell phones, still the spindly cord, just like that. So she's on the phone like this, there's the number at the bottom, and then the tagline at the top of the ad, to make you want to call this phone sex line above any other phone sex line, the line was, mind-blowing chat. I don't really think the intent of calling a phone sex line is to blow your mind. It's like, imagine you call up and there's just like heavy breathing on the line, like, the nearest star is 1.8 billion light years away. Think about it. And you're like, oh my God, my brain just came. Oh, no. Well, my mom is not allowed to see me do comedy. She would be happy if I were Bill Maher, but I am not. So whenever she's seen me in the audience, she makes me very nervous to be there. And so I don't perform well in front of her, and I don't really like having her around. But she is she's supportive in a motherly way. Like, I understand that you're compelled to do this. So I don't think she understands it exactly. I went to the naturopath. I don't know if you guys are down with the naturopathy at all. But my mom was going, and so I've never been able to sleep at night because I'm a horrible person. Just never really been able to get like a good 8 hours in. So my mom was like, well, I'm going to the naturopath. Why don't you come too? And we'll see if they have any kind of solutions for what our problems are. So I was like, okay, whatever works. I'm willing to try anything once. So we go to the naturopath. It's our first time there. We've never been there before. So we're just sitting in the waiting room, and because we've never been there before, they're taking samples from us, like blood samples and things like that. And we're sitting and waiting, and a technician walks up to my mom, and she has a little plastic bag and a little pair of scissors with her. She goes up to my mom and she says, "Excuse me, Ms. Day, we need a sample of your pubic hair." And my mom's like, okay, and where else but a naturopath could you go where that you'd be like, we need your pubes, and you'd be like, okay, sure, no questions asked. So my mom goes to the washroom for a while. No, guys. She goes to the washroom, she comes out, and she hands the technician her little plastic bag. The technician takes it from her and looks at it and says, "I'm sorry, Ms. Day, we need more pubes." And my mom's like, that's it. Like, cleared me out. Like, so the technician says, "Are you sure?" And then I got defensive because I felt like they were trying to like shake my mom down for her pubes. So I was like, listen, my mom isn't trying to hold out pubes on you. And they were like, okay, and like wandered off. And we waited a little while longer, and then the technician comes up again with a little plastic bag and a little pair of scissors, and she walks up to me, and she says, excuse me, Ms. Day, and I'm like, if you're here for my pubes, there's a problem. The situation here is that there's no situation. Like, I'm a natural redhead, so if it were there, it would just be like an orange clown wig, but it's all gone. So I was like, hey man, I gave it the office. Like, got no pubes to give you, sorry. And so the technician was like, oh, well, we'll just take the sample from your head then. My mom was like, why don't you just do that in the first place? So I was totally right to yell at them. I don't know what they're doing with my mom's pubes right now. Perverts. Like just knitting a horrible sweater, that's the only thing I can think.
I think I kind of have a certain take on things that can be kind of, you know, it's sort of different from somebody else. Maybe my age and my gender might, you know, sort of have a different take on something, or be driven a different way, have a different background, you know, that kind of a thing. So I'm just coming at it from what I have, from my point of view, and I think people seem to respond to it pretty well. So.
I'm so single that like my vibrator is just out. Like it's not in a drawer or like hidden in a pillow. It's just on the nightstand, ready to rock. What I'm trying to say is my vibrator is on the loose and it's running amok. So if you see it, no, phone the police. No. I had a bad breakup, and I find after a bad breakup, I'm not really ready to like date or to sleep with someone I'll ever see with again. So I just had this fantasy where I like take somebody home, and I use their body to make me come, and then I have an orgasm, and then they just like turn into a mist. Just cease to exist, really. So if there are any ghosts here tonight, I'm scared and wet. That's how I like it. Guys, I was at work and I was taking a poop. We've all been there. So I was in the bathroom at work, and the bathroom at work is just like a public washroom. There's no specific private one for the company that I work for. So it's just a public washroom on the ground floor in a building. And I'm in there and I'm doing what I do. And as I'm sitting there, this like a swarm, like a gaggle of teenage girls come wandering into the washroom. And they all have like that tone of voice, like, oh my God, you guys, just like that tone, that teenagery tone. And like only one of them has to go to the washroom, but they're all in there together to like support one another through this. So the one who has to go to the washroom goes into the washroom. And as she's doing that, I give off a little bathroom fart, right? Because I'm taking a poop, and they all start laughing. They're all just like, ha ha ha, Stephanie, you farted. And Stephanie in the stall next to me goes, that wasn't me. So there was a pause. And I felt awkward in the silence, so I was like, it was me. And then there was another pause. So I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize nobody here ever took a shit before. And then there was another pause. And I was done, so I just like left the stall. And they were all standing around looking down at their phones. So I don't know if they were like embarrassed and didn't want to meet my eyes, or if they were all like tweeting about it. Like, hashtag bathroom fart. I was on the subway, and we pulled into one of the stations, and people start getting on the train, and a skinhead gets on the subway. And it was like your old-fashioned skinhead, like the shaved head and the big boots with the red laces and the spenders and all that stuff. And I was like, whoa, because you don't really see that around too much lately, your old-fashioned skinhead. And as soon as he got on the subway, you could sense the tension, like, and maybe it was just me, but it was just like, whoa, what's going on here, right? So the skinhead gets on the subway, and of course he sits down right next to me. And I'm Jewish and scared, so I was like, what's gonna happen now? So the skinhead has like a box of beer with him, and he takes out, he's got the box of beer in his knee, he cracks open the box of beer, he takes one of the beers out, because it's 7 o'clock at night on the subway, time to get hammered! Who's gonna say shit to the skinhead? Nobody! So he cracks the beer open, and he takes his first sip of the beer, and just immediately chokes on it. Like, like that. And I had to hold back my laughter. I didn't want to get punched in the face. I don't know what was gonna happen. So I had to like restrain myself, and I'm just like shaking uncontrollably. So I thought the best option that I could be was the classic diversion, like I'll just start looking at my phone. Like there's something hilarious on my phone. Like Angry Birds, you're so angry. It's really funny. I don't know why. So I'm just looking at my phone and I'm shaking, trying to control myself. And it got so weird and awkward that the skinhead moved away from me. Like I ruined his night. And at the time I was like, haha, but then I realized that he was just gonna get to wherever he was going and turn that right into racial hatred. Like he was just gonna get to the place he was supposed to be at, and they were gonna be like, hey, Skull, or whatever. How was the ride over here? And he was just gonna be like, the Jews! Does remind me of my sexual fantasy I have where I'm fucking a racist skinhead. And he's saying terrible things because that's what they do to get off. And then I go, haha, I fooled you, I'm a Jew! And then he goes, your Zionist pussy has corrupted me! And his head just explodes everywhere. And then I come and I sleep like a baby, right guys? Good night, everyone!